Hello and welcome to Comic Book Wars, episode 11, the comicbookspeculation.com podcast or whatever. I'm Jimmy Linguini, obviously. You guys can, I guess, introduce yourselves at this point.
What's up? It's Sleepy John back for another episode. I'm wondering how many of you are going to lose your money tomorrow on buying this Star comic.
Hi, my name is Nico, and I'm addicted to comic books. I also write the weekend update article for comicbookspeculation.com.
Hi, Nico.
Why do you think people are going to lose their money on Captain Marvel 8?
Why are people buying this book already? I mean, have you? We're in what I consider right now a FOMO cloud. It's if you think about historically when books go nuclear one week, then
about a
people
character that nobody knows who that is. And
well, it could be for any reason.
Story.
Yeah, it could be for any reason. What we're in now is the Walking Dead 193 and Turtles 95. When this happens, people get like real excited and they're able to go out and buy a book for, cover price and able to sell it for $40 or $30. And then they're like, okay, I need the next fix. What's the next fix? Oh, Marvel's got some character that nobody knows anything about. I will give credit to some people who did the deduction on it and figured out from Mark Brooks' terrible tweets that he deleted apparently that this character may appear in Captain Marvel 8, which is coming out tomorrow. But what is the significance of this character? And the solicitations make it read like she may be a villain, and that's what.
No, she is a villain.
Yeah, cover number 10 looks like she's probably a villain. Why is it already selling for like $20-$30 for just the regular cover? The 1 in 25 is well over $100 already. Nobody knows anything about this character. Nobody knows.
I mean she's Bizarro Captain Marvel.
Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, no, that's what they said. She was like reverse Captain Marvel.
She doesn't look like a Bizarro Superman, like all.
Well, sometimes you just got to embrace it. So how
many?
I don't know. I'm gonna go to a bunch of. I'm gonna wake up early tomorrow and drive an hour away and see how many stores I can hit.
Yeah, so I'm thinking about doing the same thing because it's just ridiculous. I don't think it's what I'm more question is what we always question, that is a never-ending cycle. Who is buying books at these prices? And I think we know to a point that it's just people that like to buy that first hot appearance and they get it and they're happy and they put it in their collection and they move on to the next thing. But it can't be what all the people are buying them are doing.
Just sometimes you don't question it. Just embrace it.
I don't think you can, because you're not going to get an answer. So what's the point of asking the question? But it's something that we always talk about in the hobby. What do you think about the variants for it?
I mean, it's not a nice looking variant, like 1 in 25. But there's also a cover B, right? The carnageized variant. So I don't know. I'm not a big fan of them. And then there's also a store variant that you can buy for $20 that seems to be selling well right now. So who knows where that goes?
It's just a version of the carnageized variant. The carnageized one is pretty nice. Not many of those books in recent years have done real well. Obviously, Marvel hit gold that they didn't know about when they made the Ratio Venom variants years ago. That they didn't even get popular until many years later. So,
the Spider-Man one out the gate was popular.
Yeah, yes, it was, and it was hard to find too. That was the biggest thing. But they've done a number of these. How many they've done? Haven't they done 2 rounds of Venom covers? Now they're doing
two or three, yeah. And now they're doing Carnage.
And
well, I mean, because it aligns with their new Absolute Carnage series that's coming up. So
right, absolutely, yeah.
Do you guys want to know my opinion?
Yeah,
obviously.
See what you got.
Oh my God, I'm so excited about these books. They're a great long-term play. No, I'm just kidding. I would not encourage anyone to keep a single fucking copy of any cover of this book some random Captain Marvel villain who may or may not be a fixture in the title, has no long-term spec appeal. We've seen time and time again that Captain Marvel has been rejected by enough people for whatever sorts of reasons, whether they're valid or invalid. The book makes no sense at all as a keeper. I mean, we've seen prices plummet on whether it's Avenging Spider-Man 9 or, her very first appearance, or, you know what I mean, like Ms. Marvel ones, and to suggest that somehow, well, now she's got to heal, and that's going to be the book that's going to maintain and have incremental growth. I mean, if you want to buy them for cover price and stick them in a box, I think you're going to look back and be like, damn, I wish I would have sold those. But under no circumstances would I encourage anyone in their worst nightmares to actually pay an inflated price for any cover of these books. I even passed on the store variants that were like buy two, get one free or whatever, because I thought it was, 60-40 that they would have enough value to make it worth my time to flip them when they finally arrived.
So it's funny. I was thinking about this book today.
Oh my God, it's a long-term play.
But I was thinking about this book today, and the first thing that made me think of was Snow Guard. Remember when that character came out in Champions?
Yeah.
People were like, oh, I got to get this character's book. And they did second prints with the character on the cover, and they are doing that with this one. They already announced the second print for Captain Marvel #8. They're calling it a spoiler cover. It's going to have the character on the cover, probably be reused interior art. There's been a number of people.
Favorite second print.
Yeah, then he's put a interior page on the cover. I will say, Marvel did have a good thing going in the historically. When they started doing that, a lot of those second print covers, the Spider-Man anti-Venom ones, those covers are worth a lot. So if you can get them in high grade, they're worth way more than the A cover, the base cover.
Yeah, here's kind of the thing with stuff like this, though, in our current market. What's interesting is that when people, enough buyers buy in at these inflated prices, they tend to kind of stick at that price, right? Not at like the top tier, but at like the lower incremental buy-in, right? So like you're not going to see, for example, Naomi #1s go below $40, $50 raw. You won't see, like a lot of these books that I think had it been, the market 5 years ago, would have returned to just trash. I don't know that there's a lot of books like that move.
I don't know. I mean, like
once the buy-in.
Peter Panzerfaust fell really fast. So it's 6 guns.
Independent. These are independent titles.
I mean, I think the price could go down below what it's going for right now, realistically.
Well,
it just depends on what happens in the next few issues. I mean, she's solicited for the next 3 issues. So maybe she dies. Who knows? And if she dies, then the spec's dead. But who knows? Who knows what happens?
Marvel's gonna keep her around. You know how they do that.
We don't know. We don't know. So I mean, it's just we have to think about it that way. I don't think it's gonna fall below $30 though. It could, but
for the regular cover or the variant?
Yeah, I mean any of them. All of them seem to be selling well right now. So we'll see where it goes. But it's very possible that they'll go down.
Yeah, I was going to say about $20.
I think it'll be at 10 and
10.
3 months, maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Does the book come out once a month though?
I would assume so.
Yeah. Then I mean, I think it's probably more like 6 months until the price starts dropping. Yeah.
Because she'll be through 10. You're right.
Yeah.
She'll still be somewhat relevant. Nico, what you're saying though is like a buy it now will not be listed lower than the price we're seeing today, more or less, or next week.
Right.
Now, if something goes to auction, which is for a book like that, once the flavor...
Katie bar the door. Yeah.
Once the flavor is out of it, it goes down to cover price.
Right.
And along those terms, one book I looked up today was Dead Rabbit #1 to see what those prices were at. I looked up the variant because remember how hot that book got when it got canceled, recalled because of the whole lawsuit thing. There is the low end on the regular variant. Now I'm not talking store variants because those never really picked up, which is crazy. The independent books, the store variants usually don't pick up. You get a rare one like the dye virgin variant, which went crazy.
Can I make a guess?
Yeah, go ahead.
$34.99 is the lowest buy it
For
now.
a buy it now.
Right, for the 1 in 10.
It was a 1 in 10 book. Yeah, there was actually a couple below that.
Wow.
25 was the lowest.
There we go.
So the reason I looked it up was because Image released a cover of a book called Dead Eyes, which has the exact same character on the cover, same creative team, and it was titled it was labeled #1. Image released it on their Twitter account. So it looks like they're bringing that book back, and it's not going to be called Dead Rabbit. It's going to be called Dead Eyes. Does that matter to anybody? People, from what I was reading, people liked the series. Or, it was only, how many issues did it go? 3? Maybe got
2.
I know at least 2 got printed.
So I think this is just going to push more interest. This is going to push interest back into the recalled ones, the first 1 and 2.
Yeah.
I mean, those books have kind of dipped, but they might rejuvenate for how long, who knows. But
That's why I was looking it up, because I was wondering, hey, maybe it's a good time to buy. I figured some people might be trying to dump copies cheap, but $25 is still too high in my opinion. It'll go above that when the series comes out and they make like a formal announcement and everything, but so I don't feel like it's a good buy. I don't know.
Sorry, they're listed at $25 right now, you think?
Well, for the variant, there was.
Oh, okay, for the variant. Yeah, I thought they were like
Yeah.
less than 10, but I mean, I don't know. I haven't looked it up in a while.
Yeah, I didn't even look at the regular cover because I feel like you're saying, it'd probably be $10, and I don't feel like gambling on that. They didn't say when it was coming out. All the tweet said was something like, good series will always live or something like that. And it made it. They didn't say it's coming back. They just had a new title on it, so I assume it's coming back. So, for whatever,
What do you guys think about the X-Men Seeds of Tomorrow preview?
Who cares? I mean, I don't know. It's a freebie, so
yeah.
Every store is getting or every Diamond account is getting 50 to 100 of them, if not more. So I don't know.
I don't know. Do small stores get that many?
Yeah,
I think they have to pay for them.
They still get 2 bundles, and when you say pay, they're like $2.
Right.
So I mean, it's not expensive.
Do they just bill them and you don't get a choice?
Pretty much. That's what I assumed.
That's messed up.
So.
It's
like die.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the word on the street is that has all of the new characters in a story, or at least I don't know if it's in a story.
No, I think it's just like a sketchbook type thing where it just shows them and their character stuff. It's
like the character designs for them, and it has all their names. So they already released all those pages basically in solicitations and whatnot. They just had their names crossed out so that people didn't know them ahead of time. So it's probably those. You're right.
So we'll see what that means. I mean, I don't think they have long-term spec at all, but I'm sure people will start trying to jump on it. So we'll see.
I will grab a couple because
they're free.
Well, I'm not trying to go and take a stack of free comics. I hate when.
I mean, the Captain Marvel one did pretty well, right? And that was one of those free ones like that.
What was the Captain
for
Marvel
the Summer of Spider-Man?
Oh,
that was a freebie.
It did for a little while till people got burned out on them. That one.
Well, I mean, it still sells, right? It still sells for like 10 to 15.
I don't know, does it?
Okay. Well, I mean, it sells for more than free.
Yeah, true. I'll go and grab a bunch of them if people have had if it's a month later and they just put them in some stores. They have like a table where it has all the free previews and tchotchkes and whatnot. I'd grab a couple then, but I wouldn't grab more than 1 or 2 maybe at a store that I shop at regularly. I would grab 2 if I give them decent money regularly. But the reason why I'd grab it is because I have pre-ordered some of the variants for Powers of X #1. So I'd just pair it with that if I was going to sell it, just put it with that as a nice little gimmick to purchase my copy versus Jimmy's copy.
Oh, whatever. I'm going to ask, I'll just try to get a bundle. I'll try to get a whole bundle and I'll just undercut you.
Anybody like the Deadpool books?
I put that.
That's the Scotty Young cover for Deadpool 16 that you're talking about. That's the only Deadpool book this week, right?
Yeah, I thought it was 15, but I could be wrong.
Oh yeah, it's 15. You're right.
Yeah, it's an ASM 611 homage. It's just not as cool.
It just looks terrible compared to his original. He is a very good artist, and if you only know him for his animal variants or whatever, his baby variants, that's not the capability of his work. If you look at Spider-Man 611, I mean, it's a funny cover. It's goofy.
It's a great cover,
but it has a lot of detail. It's a nice looking cover. This new one looks like it took him like 10 minutes. I don't really understand why you would homage yourself and do it worse. Wouldn't you want to like up your previous work? Or are you just like giving up and saying like, I'll phone this one in. I'll get paid the same. I don't know.
It's no X Liefelds.
Oh my gosh, does that artwork look terrible?
Yeah, it looks pretty bad. But I mean, I was surprised that he tweeted out that he won't sign them.
He did?
Yeah, he said, I won't sign these. He was
Are
all
you serious?
Yeah. But you convinced me to go on the Keen Spot website, and I paid $30 and I got one of every cover, including the 1 in 5 and and the blank cover that apparently like retails for $9.99. So
did you
do you think you'll do a sketch on one if you pay him like the sketch prices?
Did you buy the 6-pack that costs 5 cents more than just buying them all individually?
No, because it doesn't cost more, because some of them are the retailer one was $15.99 on the website or $14.99.
The blank or the
1 in 5?
Oh, I bought it for cover price. They must have raised the price on them.
I think they did. Mid while I was doing it, but whatever, it happens.
God, I just admitted that I bought that comic. That's terrible.
You said you were going to get them signed by Liefeld, so I just thought it was funny that he tweeted out, "Don't bring these to me." So
that's funny.
All right, let's talk turtles.
Turtles.
Why?
All right.
You got to wash your hands after you touch them, because otherwise, if you don't, it gets you really bad diarrhea. You can get really sick. That's what I learned when I was a kid. I had to go to the hospital.
They're not a cleanly animal because they just walk around all day long. Yeah. So here's my beef with
salmonella.
I finally caught up on reading the key issues regarding Jenica this past weekend. 51. Her origin is she's a foot soldier, and Shredder dies. Splinter takes over the Foot, and she is part of the Foot Clan. And she shows up in a series of panels in which they're fighting some bad guys. She wants to basically take this guy out. She has the claws on, and one of the turtles stops her and says, "No, that's not how we do it." And she got mad, and they told her to go away, basically. And then they show her with, she has the foot mask on. They show her with her mask pulled up like past her lips, and the only reason you even know that it's a woman is because it looks like she has lipstick on, like bright red lipstick, which after I thought about it, I was like, that's ridiculous. Like, so they knew that she was going to be a woman, and the way they tried to differentiate her. Now, maybe she had like some breast outlines or something on her costume. I didn't look at it that close. I just thought it was a little ridiculous that they put lipstick on her when she probably doesn't wear lipstick in any of the other panels.
You don't know that. You haven't.
Well, so then I read 52 because she has a little bit of dialogue in 51, but she doesn't say who she is. You don't know.
Okay, but like it would still be a full appearance. It just, she doesn't say who she is.
Okay, so it got me thinking about what my definition of a cameo versus a full is.
They have to say their name. Is that what you're saying?
Well, think about it this way. And this is going to go, I hate when people try and use the Wolverine thing because it's so played out. Yes, if the current market went back in time.
But doesn't Wolverine say I'm Wolverine in his cameo?
Yes, full appearance.
Okay, so in his cameo. So 180 is the full appearance?
Full. Yeah, it's full.
Okay. Just to reference this, I think you're just a little skewed in your thinking.
So
let's go to Nico. Nico, what are you thinking about this?
Well,
he's completely wrong, right?
Let me throw out
51's the book. It's not 52. It's not going to change. The market's entrenched.
No, The market
think
has
that
decided.
I think objective analysis or trying to put like a reason on this stuff is like an exercise in
Futility.
comic book intellectualism, but it doesn't have any real pragmatic value. I hate fucking listening to people fucking argue about this shit. I will listen to people's opinions because I think they're kind of interesting. That being said, comic book people are the most stubborn people on the fucking face of the planet, and like
No, I'm not.
move, right? They just don't move. So like once the market decides something, it fucking never changes for like 20, 30 years. Now there's some outliers where shit kind of changed, like Warlock's first appearance, I think, is a good example of that. But
That one's undecided in my opinion because you got.
but it used to be decided. It used to be the FF book, right?
You have
and
two
now
books
it's like,
that are basically even in the same grades right now. Thor 165 and the FF book are pretty even.
pretty even. Thor's about an inch ahead, and then there's the Marvel Presents one or whatever it is that some people will jump on because they like it because it's a black cover. But I mean, all this stuff is so circumstantial and so like book specific. And we can talk about that until we're blue in the face. But this is a weird one, right? You don't see her face. She doesn't say her name.
So,
she's part of the plot.
Here's my thing, and she's not an integral part of the plot, honestly. Now, does that matter? No, not at all. In 52, she takes her mask off. She says her name. Here's the thing. Here's the beef I have with this book, 52. It is Tom Waltz is the writer on it, and he's still current writer. It is such a terrible little dialogue. She tries to kill Splinter because she's mad that she's an assassin and she's not allowed to kill people because Splinter has taken over and says, no, we're like more passive aggressive. We're passive. We want to stop them, but we don't want to kill everybody just because they're bad. It takes him 2 panels of talking where she said, you know what? You're right. I'm sorry I tried to kill you. And I'm like, really? That's the you have this character that you've been building up for 4 years, and this is how she turns. She wanted to kill him, and then he says, hold on, my child. You don't want to kill people, and he explains why. She's like, oh, you know what? You're right. Good idea. Yeah, good idea. We won't kill people now. It's so terrible. I mean, it's horribly written. And then I went up to read City of War, the current arc, and so she gets the transfusion and turns into a turtle in 95. She first gets stabbed in 93. So they've drug this stabbing out 2.5 issues before she even
What do you mean?
gets...
So what happens in 94 then? They're just like riding an ambulance for the whole...
They're driving around trying to figure out like what to do. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds terrible. That actually sounds terrible.
So when people are talking about like the future issues and like it's pretty...
Here comes the Eisners.
Everything looks like...
But is that why
90s.
Is that why she doesn't become until 97? Because 96 they're still driving around?
Because I think what's going to happen is she's going to like come to full comprehension that she's a turtle, and then she's going to be like, oh no, how is there any way to reverse this? I don't want to be a turtle. And then they're like, sorry, this is it. And then that's the end of 96. And then 97, she's like, well, I guess I'm a turtle. I'll join you guys now. Do you have any other colors in your rainbow of bandanas? And they're like, well, we got this yellow one we've been saving in a box for a little while. Would you like that? Okay.
yeah, whatever. Somebody should have interrupted you earlier. Whatever.
I was waiting for it, but people are just letting me go on.
So TMNT 95, the cover art went for over $5,000. Does that mean anything? Was that like a no reserve auction, or what was that?
It was a no reserve auction.
On eBay?
On eBay.
But who was selling it? Was it Eastman or somebody else? Did somebody buy it from Eastman and then resell it?
I have absolutely no idea. Yeah, I didn't look at it that hard. I just saw it on there, screenshot, put it on the outline.
The other thing I will say about the freaking art in the 50s, it's terrible. I forget who the artist is, but Dave Wachter, who's on the new stuff, his art is a lot better and his stuff looks pretty good. But the gripe I have with him is he makes the turtles look like the animated turtles, where they just have like a round head. Like the old turtles, like they have like a beak more or less, but the animated ones, it's just like a big sphere.
You're a weirdo.
Well, I mean, that's fine for the Nickelodeon, the TMNT animated series.
Complete weirdo.
But why is he changing how the turtles look?
Yeah, and like what I don't understand is like why do they have so many different theme songs? Like they have one theme
There's
song,
only one.
and it's by Vanilla Ice. But you never hear it. So it's like it's just rude. What do you mean what?
What?
That's my gripe with the turtles.
This is what the young kid says. Nico,
Whatever.
do you know the theme song?
Teenage Mutant Ninja
Wrong,
Turtles.
go.
wrong,
Obviously.
wrong.
Obviously.
Go ninja, go. And then they do like the whole. It's like I'm a turtle. You know what I mean?
We should absolutely get a celebrity endorsement from.
It would be too much money. I saw the bagel guy is now charging. I think he's $40.
I don't pay for my celebrity
Fuck
endorsement.
that guy.
Yeah,
That guy.
Jason Mewes just loves our podcast.
no, that guy's amazing. I think.
No, he's paying me $40 to even care about him.
So yeah, Liefeld's came out or is coming out this week. It's selling for about double cover. It's about Rob Liefeld's unsuccessful characters going into a time machine and terminating the like Terminator style, going and trying to kill like Deadpool and Cable and all of his like original things apparently. And then
What's some of the names though? Did you read the names? Because some of them
it
were
was
funny.
it was no, they're not funny. It's stupid.
Yeah,
It's a
hilarious.
stupid title. So
Believe in your
hilarious.
heart that someone is going to get him to sketch on a CGC Signature Series book, and that he will not open those books up. They'll be packaged appropriately with a nice white cover, and somebody is going to pay a pretty penny for that legwork.
there's no way he'll do it.
What if you put if you cut out an X-Men blank trade and you just like put it over top of it in the in the holder,
or use a blue bag? I mean, there's the non-see-through
like,
bag. Trust me, it's going to get done.
No,
That's
won't.
not rocket science. It'll be great.
I don't see it happening.
No.
We'll see.
After that one guy ruined everything with the Stan Lee Walking Dead sketch, like he ruined it for everybody.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Immortal Hulk 25 and Immortal Hulk generally. What do you guys think?
Who cares?
25. How far away is that? That's like 4 months.
Is it? Who is? Or like I guess people are reading it, but are all the titles like are they all selling well each week? Like, do they sell above cover or anything? Because I haven't really been paying attention to Immortal Hulk at all.
Well, geez, 20 issues in and a book still selling above cover. Now I will say, like they've tried to keep the speculation market fueled by having new or rehashed characters pretty frequently. So they've had like Joe Fixit, they've had Harpy, they've had Doc Samson's come back, they've had there was rumors of Red She-Hulk, which ended up not being the case.
I like that store variant that Gary turned everybody on to from the New Jersey shop.
With Joe Fixit on the cover?
Yeah, that's a sharp cover.
Who's the artist?
Shame on me for not remembering his name. I apologize.
Somebody
I'm sure will tell us in the live chat, but that's a sharp looking book.
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Well, is tell me what's different than normal.
I would like just somebody to explain what you're talking about.
It's some kind of store variant that has Joe Fixit on the cover.
For what issue? For what issue though?
22.
Oh,
I think they're on 20 or 21. 20's out definitely.
Yeah,
20's been on the shelves for a couple weeks.
21's got a SDCC variant maybe that they're releasing.
Yeah, 20's the cover that has Red Harpy on the cover. Alex
And
Ross.
so the issue is 25 is allegedly the end of the series. I'm not sure based upon the solicitation. It says the heat death of our universe has come and gone. The Hulk is finally dead. Whether or not that means he dies in 24 or 25.
What was the first word? Heat? H-E-A-T?
Yep. I don't know what that means.
Well, one thing I was...
But it's like a cosmic Immortal Hulk, and this particular issue is set in the future. Apparently, billions of years later, the ninth cosmos cowers. I don't know, but it's been.
I was wondering.
Interesting. I'm behind on that book. And I will probably at this point wait for the trade to finish reading it. But I like Al Ewing. I like what he's doing. And to be perfectly honest, the series as a whole has much more appeal to me now that it's going to end with issue 25. Now, what Marvel decides to do with it after the fact, I think will be interesting. So,
one thing I'm interested in with that term, the Heat, issue 24. Now, I will say the covers that Alex Ross has done don't always relate to the inside material. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. 24 has Hulk holding a planet and kind of like in his hand, kind of like crushing it, like there's like he's breaking the plates of the planet apart, kind of. And I was reading some things online that maybe, does this mean World Breaker Hulk? They've done like every kind of Hulk pretty much. So could it be World Breaker Hulk is coming back? World Breaker Hulk was a Hulk from Planet Hulk.
do you remember what his first appearance is off the top of your head? Because that book's getting
Hulk.
a little bit of interest. There's a couple people obviously that are thinking the same as you. I don't know if the price has moved, but
Yeah, I haven't checked the prices.
yeah, but I mean it's getting traction.
It's 105 from the second series, which is Planet Hulk run, Planet Hulk arc. It's near the end of it. He basically absorbs the energy from a bomb, and which he's kind of at fault for exploding. And the planet where he's on, everybody dies, including his bride, more or less. And he says, I should have been. I was like the I forget what term he gives himself, but he said, and now I realize I'm the World Breaker Hulk. Meaning that he like killed the planet. So that's Incredible Hulk 105. Keep an eye on it. I'm definitely gonna maybe pick one or two up.
All right, what do you guys want to talk about next?
Yeah, I don't really care. I just found out that Skybound's going to sell some of their San Diego Comic-Con variants on Thursday at some point on their website. So
Very nice. I like.
Well, they haven't announced the print run for the 193.
yeah, I wouldn't worry about it. I mean, I saw one guy like Wanted Comics sold 100 of them or 120 of them, and that was a few days ago. So I'm sure he sold way more by now. So who knows? Who knows how he's gained that many? I don't know. Drew's a good guy, so I'm sure he's not
going
fake. So who knows? But
so we were talking about so I'll keep an eye out for that for sure. Maybe sign up for their newsletter, get a notice when it comes out.
Who knows? I just saw in a Facebook group that one of the guys from Skybound said, "Keep your eye out on our website."
192, that 192 slab number. Did you see they put the number on the actual label? Which
they said like that because there's a number written on it, right?
They have adamantly said they would never do that. I thought.
No, I mean if you write something on a thing, they usually write like also written. So I don't know. They also put like a brand new a special label on it, right? So
yeah, it's the Adlard 192 second print cover, which is not good.
Well, I mean, if you break the slab, it's not like you can get it back. So
why would I break it?
If it like accidentally cracks or something.
Oh,
yeah.
If I wrote like 7 out of 192 on the book and sent it in, said like, "Hey, I need this reholdered," they wouldn't do it.
You're a weird guy.
See, we were talking about Liefeld earlier, and we probably should have led the podcast off with this. Liefeld doing a Snake Eyes G.I. Joe.
Who cares?
Oh my God! But
I mean,
Nico, you had some other news regarding.
Well, IDW needs something to like. They need something to sell, so they try every avenue. But yeah, I don't think it's going to sell.
Good for them.
Yeah, what do you want to talk about, Nico?
With respect to G.I. Joe, I'm excited they're going to start filming. I'll have to look at. I forget the exact date.
Is Channing Tatum coming back?
Jimmy, who's staying at your house for the movie?
Do
you have any of the actors lodging?
Is Channing Tatum coming back?
So they're filming in Vancouver.
Oh.
That's Jimmy's backyard.
From October 15th to December 9th. The interesting issue is that we're thinking maybe a 2020 release date for the film. As far as I see it, there's like, I don't know, 4 books that are kind of interesting. G.I. Joe 21 from Volume 1, G.I. Joe, The Real American Hero, is a like a $1,300 9/8. There's only 100 9/8s on the CGC census of that book. So, you know, it's incredibly scarce. And when you compare it to G.I. Joe #1, there's 500 copies of G.I. Joe 1 in CGC 9/8 condition.
Yeah, what does it still sell for, though?
G.I. Joe
$100?
1 is down. Dude, you can get them for like $3 1/4, maybe $300, particularly if you can find a 9/8 at a show. There's not even much disparity between the newsstands and the direct market editions. Now, compare that book to the Purple Rain variant, the IDW Purple Rain variant. I can't remember what number that is. I want to say 16, but I could be wrong.
You're going to find it. Doesn't even matter.
There's a 1 9/8.
Yeah.
On the census.
It has it, too.
Oh, do you? Nice. The one that I kind of like that nobody really pays much attention to that's pretty cheap is the Turner variant. They did for the 21st issue of the Image Run, which was also a silent issue.
Oh, the Turner Ragnar variant?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can
I just passed one the other day. Yeah, the regular cover's fine. You want the foil one that's impossible to find.
Correct.
Yeah, I saw one of those the other day for like $3, but the spine was all beat up. It's a pretty nice cover, though.
Yeah, so that's kind of
the real
G.I.
question,
Joe.
though.
The G.I. Joe Special #1, which is the Spider-Man 1 McFarlane homage, is also an interesting book for me. You know, that book is like from 1995 at the height of the comic boom, and high grade copies of it are about $500.
Yeah, it's in 9/8. You're talking. Yeah. You're paying over $100 for a nice high grade raw. That is definitely a book that I always say like, oh, I'm gonna pick one of those up someday, but I'll find it cheap. You can't find them in the wild, and it always is going up on eBay. It's definitely I don't know. I don't want to pay $100 for a rip-off G.I. Joe book that basically the story behind it, is that they chose not to use McFarlane's art, and then when he got hot, then they did use it, and the cover isn't even McFarlane art. But it's a book that people want, and I don't think
and one that he'll sign.
Does he not sign stuff?
No, he's not weird.
Yeah, I mean, there's not many people that don't, but
Akira's on hold. That's the big news for me, man. That's real big news. The last 9/8 of issue number 38 sold for about $1,100, $1,200.
Wow.
Some sources are reporting that the film's DOA. Deadline suggests that after, and I'm going to script his name. What's his name?
Well, yeah, he moved on to Thor 3, right? Does that mean that it's off, or does that mean that it's just postponed?
Deadline suggests that he'll return to see if Akira can be resurrected. The issues that have been reported, although unconfirmed, are 1 about casting and 2 about the script. They indicate 1 that it's hard to cast a film and find Asian characters that are like, A-list celebrities that are willing to do this film that are age appropriate, or that they basically think they can carry this really important plot, right?
They should get Awkwafina. She's real hot right now.
And I do hear that Awkwafina is really hot right now.
Yeah, she's real hot.
The other issue,
you always know, like whenever somebody gets hot, they host like the MTV Awards right before it happens.
Is she supposed to host it?
No, she did, and then she got like really hot. Then she was in like Oceans, the female Oceans 11.
Yeah.
And then
And she was
all
in
these
Crazy
other
Rich Asians.
yeah,
too.
she was in like a bunch of movies. I don't know who she is. Sounds like
I just saw her because she was. Yeah, she was. They had an interview.
Plus,
with
what kind
her.
of name is Aquafina?
I know. I'd like to know the origin of it. Seems like cool chick though.
Maybe she
should
likes
be in.
water.
Well,
It's just bizarre.
So
other
basically, what
issue
happened
is
is the
the-
director.
Yeah, well, the other issue is the plot changes.
Of Akira.
Apparently, allegedly, caused some sort of internal strife. Perhaps it was the leak about the plot changes that we discussed in an earlier podcast. I'm not sure if any of this is true. I'm just
Is he writing it?
Hollywood Reporter and other sources. He directed the film. I don't believe he's the screenwriter, but you know how that goes. I mean, directors like him of his caliber take such a investment in the quality of their product that they.
I mean, Thor 3 wasn't that great. I mean, it was okay.
Did anybody know who he was before?
I don't think so.
Ragnarok?
I mean, what else did he do aside from Thor 3?
I'm
So
sure
I don't
has
think he
some-
like is a perfectionist at all.
Thor-
So I mean, also like that
Ragnarok-
one girl's accent in Thor 3 is terrible.
Valkyrie.
Can we talk about
Yeah.
Thor 4? Ragnarok spec Valkyrie's back, right? Now's the time to get those books out. And
I don't know. Is she
get ready to
still
have them
British
sold.
though? Like I think no, that's a pertinent question. I mean, they should just abandon her being British if she can't pull that out.
Isn't she British though?
No, she was in. She no,
Because isn't she British in the new Men in Black too?
no.
Oh.
Not that I've seen it, but
Oh.
no.
I think those are different people, bro.
No, it's
It's
what
the same woman.
she's in Westworld too, right? Yeah, she's in Westworld, and then she's in some other stuff. She's not British.
Hmm.
So
I don't know. I just if it's an American movie, like they try and put a British person in it because they think that's what Americans like. So just assume that was the case with her. I don't know. The Rock isn't British though. And
All right,
he's
let's talk about
still
the,
kicking
Facebook
ass.
page.
remember
What?
that one time when he fought a building?
Yeah. Well,
It's a great video game. Let's
I
talk
played the
about
video.
No. What are you talking about? It was called Skyscraper, and he like he used some kind of crane, and then he levied himself onto a burning building, and then he had like fight to. I don't know.
I'm trying
didn't
to get Rampage
Oh, Die
bots
Hard.
graded.
No, that
and
wasn't
nobody-
Die Hard.
Nobody's into grading video games, so I'm just kind of giving up on it. But
Isn't
I'm
it
trying-
AFN or something that you send them to?
I don't know. I didn't get that far.
Oh,
Yeah. I don't know. Every Golden Age dealer in the country is displaying their unopened video games on Instagram, and I am
I haven't
suffering
noticed that.
FOMO. So let's make sure that I don't spend a bunch of money on some ridiculous nonsense. Let's talk about the Marvel Facebook pages.
Oh, that is some good stuff there. It
It's
seems.
a really interesting issue. Do
Yeah.
you want to talk about it? Go.
No, you're the expert. I guess what
I don't know if that's
You
that's
got-
certainly not accurate, but
you got
here's
expert
kind of the
insight.
issue. I did talk to a computer guy. Okay, so it's really a twofold. Yeah, I'm clearly
Dude,
not
you're
a
getting
computer guy.
Adele.
okay. You remember earlier in this week when you were like, "Oh, did you see these Facebook pages?" And they're what like so they have these pages set up for what like Marvel's Marvel's Eternals and Marvel's whatever. Then I set one up called Marvel's Brute Force, and I sent it to you, and it showed the exact same way as all of these other ones set up. So I mean, get real. Like this means this. Oh, it might mean that Marvel's doing something, but I mean, it's like who knows? It could mean nothing. I mean, I set up a placeholder just to prove that you can do it. Like it's stupid, and I
He
deleted
called
the page.
He called the Best Buy Geek Squad, and they confirmed.
So I mean, I think
was
it's
legit.
wishful thinking, but who knows what it means? I mean, is there going to be a Facebook page for Marvel's Eternals? Yeah, absolutely. Will there be a page for all these other movies? Probably, but I don't know.
So wait, you're saying they are movies then?
Well, what are the other ones that were?
All right, so here's
Ironheart?
kind of the deal.
Yeah, there's one for Ironheart, and then but who knows what that means?
Dark Avengers and Young Avengers.
Yeah, who
Basically,
knows what
there's
either of those?
Older Facebook groups. The argument's twofold. People claim that Facebook does a pretty good job of protecting IP, Marvel's IP specifically, and they think that there's at least some probability that There are pages that were generated for Dark Avengers, Young Avengers, and Ironheart.
But I mean, if that's accurate, if they're like,
past.
if they're so protective of it, why was I able to set up Facebook.com/Marvel's Brute Force?
Because that'll never happen.
It might. You don't know. I mean, now people are pumping and dumping that book, so you never know.
No one was
Is
pumping.
it selling?
That book.
Yeah, it's selling for like, there's an auction with like 5 days to go, and it's at like $10 or something, because it's now like one of the grails for some motorcycle comic book club or whatever.
Oh God, no, not this again.
Yeah, it's like,
I met one of those dudes for like
for the
2
Southeast
seconds,
chapter.
Bean Club. I swear, I met him at a show in Columbus, Ohio, and I was like, dude, because he had the thing on the vest, and I tried to talk to him, and then I was like setting up my tables because of course I was getting to the show late, and then I turned around and he was gone, and I was like, well, I lost my chance. I
heard he rode his.
The motorcycle bandits. But anyway,
did he ride his hog into the show? Like Cheech
No,
and
none of them
Chong?
have motorcycles. That's what they said. None of them. They're not a motorcycle.
No,
whatever. Why you got to split hairs?
Yeah, why do you have to be
was
so
a-
mean? Okay, I'm the only one who's allowed to call them a motorcycle.
The
gang and
point
get them all
is,
It
upset,
was a
okay?
bike with ape hangers on it.
They're a recreational motorcycle club. Anyway, the point is that I once called the Pagans a recreational motorcycle club and got yelled at.
Just be careful about what you say, because these guys might come on your Instagram page and start like putting eye emojis and asking if you want smoke or whatever. Because that's what happened to me the last time I talked about them, and talked about the last time they made one of these
Trying to sell you
grails.
drugs on the internet, Jimmy.
Maybe.
Nico's been watching too much Dragnet.
Sons of Anarchy. Anyway, more importantly,
What's Dragnet? Is that like?
You talked
is that
about
like
the
Night
pagans.
Court?
He watched the Dragnet movie with Dan Aykroyd. They hunt the pagans.
Oh, I thought we were talking about
very
Night
serious.
Court.
All
Where
right,
they got
more
like arrested
importantly,
and had to go to Night Court.
I am not
Harry Anderson. Night Court?
pulling Dark Avengers or Young Avengers out of my show boxes or Ironheart books out of my show boxes. I sold Dark Avengers books on eBay. I do think that it's interesting and newsworthy. I haven't bought any of those books. I mean, I've bought all those books in the past, but I'm not like out actively seeking new copies or trying to like get in at market price because I'm convinced that there's going to be some sort of announcement. I do think it's interesting though. That's kind of the extent of it for me.
I'll buy Invincible Iron Man 7 for $10 if I can get it.
You sniped my Young Avengers 9s out of my show boxes. 12s, my buy two get one free. See, I don't even know the key issues. That's how little I care and how many copies I have.
How many did you have left?
6.
Oh my gosh, dude!
I know.
I bought 3 of them, and you're complaining.
I only have 6 left. What if
I only
that
have
up?
6 left.
Yeah. All right. More importantly, $1 a piece. That's how much I paid for them. Let's move on.
What do you got?
Hit
Hit us with the Golden Age stuff.
All right. Let's talk about vintage comic books because I've been trying to talk a little bit about some Silver Age books too, just so we can have invariably I'll try to pick up Bronze Age books too, but trying to look at some of these live auctions. So just as a follow-up to the Golden Age auction that we talked about last week, because I think it's kind of interesting and instructive, we see the Detective Comics 140 CGC 40 purple label restored copy that was in a live auction, no reserve, last week, ending this week for $3,497. Blue label copies sell for about a little less than 2 times that amount. This is interesting. This book's seeing some spikes because of the tiny little bit of information that's came out about the forthcoming Batman film, which indicates that they're going to try to tell the story of Batman as the world's greatest detective. The Good Girl art sales of the week were pretty substantial. There's Phantom Lady number 17. It was a slab blue label 0.5 copy, and it presented well. It sold for $1,300. For those of you that aren't familiar with that cover, that is like the pinnacle of Golden Age Good Girl art for many collectors. It basically has Phantom Lady tied up with a rope, also known as the bondage cover, to a post. And it's a headlights cover because the Wortham Seduction of the Innocents, like pseudoscience, congressional investigation nonsense referred to breasts as headlights. The other big book that sold last week.
You talked about that one last week too. You said it was up for auction. So
it's just a great book. I mean, it's absolutely a phenomenal book.
I'm interested in this next one because I don't know this one.
The Seven Seas Comics #4. So that's a real classic Matt Baker cover. Those Matt Baker Seven Seas books, they appear and disappear in a matter of minutes or hours when they're listed on eBay. They bring huge numbers in live auctions for Heritage or My Comic Shop or Comic Connect. There was a 4.5 that was on eBay, and it was gone faster than I could figure out whether or not I could come up with $5,000. I mean, it was just like that, and it was gone.
Did Keith buy it?
Who knows? I wish. At least then,
podcast friend Keith.
Yeah, at least then I'd have a chance of maybe seeing it in person. There were a couple cool PCH sales. The one that really, the two that really stuck out for me were this Ghost #6, which some call like the best good girl art of PCH books. It's the woman in the red dress on the ground with like a troll thing over top of her. I'm sure you've seen the cover. It's a real classic cover. So a raw copy that looked like maybe a 2.0, 2.5. It was described as good by the seller, sold in a live auction for $777. That is a bananas price for that book.
You just said it was the best good girl art cover, though.
Well, for some people, a good girl art with respect in PCH books, right? It just like checks both those boxes, but it's never been like just an outrageously expensive book. And, it's
not caught on yet.
Comparatively, not a rare book. Well, it's just been ticking up. And, again, people are just paying like really big numbers for these entry-level copies. And then higher copies are not selling for, proportionally similar amount. We'll talk a little bit about how that happens with Silver Age books here in a second. The other interesting sale was a Crime Suspense Stories 22 CGC 5.0. And I think somebody stole that one for $3,100. We've seen, sales for like 4.0s and 4.5s that are generally in that vicinity. I expected that book to be closer to 4K than it was to 3K. But it's that time of year, right? We got the Torpedo Comic Con, San Diego Comic Con, people on vacations, and it's not a rare book comparatively to other Golden Age books, but it's just in super high demand. It's usually the book that people buy when they want to get into pre-code horror books. I had
big price pre-code horror books.
Yeah, I traditionally compared it to Hulk 181, which is also not like a rare book, but is a highly sought after book. But I had a friend, Keith, who compared it to New Mutants 98. Because there's, like New Mutants 98, there's not a lot of price differential. Like the spread for the mid-grade copies is really kind of smushed together. And you see that with Batman 12 and New Mutants 98.
So those are books that people just want to own a copy. And same thing, though, with 181. Once you get down to a certain level, I would assume is around that. Like you're talking like a smush. It's like
big numbers.
They just want to own a graded copy to get to a point where maybe later they'll upgrade it to a higher copy. So I have the money now. What's my price range right now? What can I buy today?
Absolutely.
Not what's a best value or where's the market going. Yeah, that's
Right.
a good way to put it.
Yeah, and that's why I think it's so important. If you're trying to like get into these markets, to channel your inner Warren Buffett and be disciplined, right?
Yeah.
Like, wait it out, look for the higher grade copy, study the census, figure out how much money you need to spend to be in whatever third you can be in, and be as close as you can to the next third up, or quartile, however you need to break it up. So there's
this was not a good weekend, I don't think, to be auctioning Golden Age.
Absolutely not.
Because of that torpedo con. We talked about it last week.
Right.
And I would not have, and I think, like you said, Nico, that crime suspense, I'm assuming it went lower than the last sale, which I think was like 3,400 or something. It might have been a little bit higher, just because this is not the people that had the money that would want a book like that are probably, or at least a portion of them were at this con where they got it in cash and they could just buy it.
Or even the guys that are willing to I've got 4 copies of that book. I'm not going to let the GPA be adversely affected. I'll bet it up. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Because believe me, that's happening, particularly with these huge retailers. They will preserve the integrity of the GPA scores so that in the aggregate, they make a lot more money than they do on that one particular book.
Yeah, a few grand ain't much to throw around when you have, $500,000 in inventory.
Right. So as far as Silver Age books go, the one I wanted to focus on is FF5, the first appearance of Doctor Doom. There were 3 graded copies that sold this week. Okay, a CGC 6.0, a CGC 5.0, and a CGC 1.8. The 1.8 sold for,
2,600.
Okay, there we go. The 5.0 sold for 4,800.
40, yeah, almost 49, basically. Yeah.
Right. And the 6.0 sold for 9,200.
93.
Right. 93. Right.
It's
so
basically all double
spread. Well, do you see the spread though? How interesting that is. You basically have like a 2.0 that's selling for about half of what the 5.0 is, but it's less than a 2.0.
Yeah. But a 5 to a 6 was double the price?
Because that's when the spread of the census really starts to separate. There are just so many fewer copies that are 6.0 and above. So, people are looking at the census and they're saying, this is the point that I want to be in. I want to be in that top third, that top quartile of books.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what you got to do when you're looking at these books, is figure out which quartile you can afford to be in and how you can move from quartile to quartile. And that's where you see the price explosions. And people, again, are paying a big figure for the entry-level copy because everybody just wants to have one. Like, I got one in my collection. I got one. And then there's that mid-level, right, the mid-range, where the books are harder to move. The prices don't jump as much. And then when you start to get into that top 25%, that top 10%, the top 5% of the spread, the prices just explode. And, that census is constantly changing. People are constantly slabbing new books. And you just got to kind of figure out like where you can put your money and where is the right place to buy on that spectrum for resale value and for long-term investment value, whether it's a short or long-term investment. But those are the kinds of things that I usually do when I look and analyze these books before I try to think about purchasing them, or really just to get kind of some insight into how those different markets are moving.
No, I think that's great. I mean, that one right there shows a good example of what you should be looking at and why something like GPA is so valuable, or the other services that are out there that track that kind of stuff, because that's a huge jump, and that's where you can even try and do that raw if you're between grades, and hope that you get the higher one. But you can make decent money if you get the higher one if you're buying raw versus if you get on the lower side of it.
Yeah, and the question is like, there's like at least some people that hold fast to the idea that at some points in time in the past, CGC was a stricter grader, or that I don't know that that's necessarily true, or that other points in time they were less strict. And then a lot of times people are looking at slab books in person and they're able to see pressable defects. They can crack them open, press them, reslab them, and get the bump. I mean, these are just all kinds of tactics. We talked a little bit about the restoration removal and when that's practical and when that's not practical. But these are the kinds of things that I think, we all want to be adding to our repertoire so that we can try to like add value to books so that when we are making sales, we can then reinvest that, and grow our collections and buy better stuff.
Absolutely. No, good shit, man.
Yeah, that's great.
Why didn't you talk about your conundrum of the week, which was Fabulous Furry Freak Brothers? You were so caught up in this book.
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
I mean, I like the cartoons that the guy that's going to do this TV show does. So it's certainly
Who's that?
MacFarlane.
What's up?
Who's that?
Seth MacFarlane?
No.
That's the guy that does
American Dad, which is Seth MacFarlane.
No,
it's not American Dad. It's
that's what it said on the press release.
Oh, maybe it is American Dad.
Jimmy knows. He won't say.
I have no idea who it is. It says like
American Dad on the press release. And
what are you talking about?
No, maybe they were writers for that show. Seth Rogen?
No.
I thought it was King of the Hill.
What are you? Okay, I don't know. You guys are weirdos. I don't know. I feel like you should have looked into this.
Oh no, I'm sorry. It was Workaholics.
Okay,
that's the voice.
That's a terrible show.
Oh my gosh, are you serious? Workaholics is a terrible show.
Yeah, and it was American. It was the writers for American Dad, not Seth MacFarlane, but like the other.
You done smoked yourself, stupid kid.
Which I love too. So the Fabulous Furry Freak Brothers, obviously is like
the one guy looks like he is already in the comic book from
it's written
years
by,
ago.
I can't believe I'm looking this up right now. It's written by the creators of Silicon Valley. So again, it sounds
even better. I love that TV show.
The writer of American
No,
Dad,
it says no. It says the showrunners, who will also be producers, are best known for their work on King of the Hill.
Well, showrunner doesn't mean anything.
I know, none of this means anything. I wish you guys had read into this, so you're not just saying like Seth MacFarlane and whatever else you're saying.
I don't really care.
Jesus.
I saw it, and for like 2 seconds, I was like, "Ooh, I like their other work."
The reason why I'm intrigued by it,
interested in.
The reason why I'm intrigued by it is like people who are new to in-depth comics news and such. They're like, "Wow, what is this Fabulous Furry Freak Brothers? I know what Workaholics is. I've heard of that. Maybe I'll just go out and pick one of those up at my local shop this weekend."
Yeah, that's not a good idea.
That it's an impossible comic to find in first print. You can buy one like that was printed maybe 10 years ago or something, but that book has been on every independent collector's radar for decades.
20 years, 30 years.
No, Lauren, dude.
I mean, they're from the 60s.
My dad bought this comic off the shelf, and it was like a fourth print when he bought it. Like, I mean, this book
and I was trying to look at like the different indicia of because like
it's like if you bought an Avengers. It's like if you bought Avengers 1 off the shelf, and you're like, "Oh, I want that comic book now. They're making a movie of it. Oh, can I just go out and buy an Avengers?" Now, we're not talking the same price point. It's probably a lot easier to find an Avengers 1 than this book in first print.
Yeah.
Is that all your input, Jimmy?
Yep.
Thank you.
Well, I mean, what do you want me to say? I
You
like.
know
There's
about
some
these
error.
independent
There's
kind of
error
books?
ones and stuff. I mean, I think they're okay books. I don't know what this animated series is going to mean. I don't think it's going to really affect the prices of the books, but we'll see.
I don't.
Well,
think
the
it
real
will
issue
either.
is like what network is it going to run on?
Well, it
Yes.
could be on
It has to be a paid
Cartoon
channel.
Network or something. It could. There's millions
Dude,
of
it's
channels.
about drug addicted, in search of the eternal high characters. I don't think.
Isn't that what Friends was about?
What?
I don't even
Isn't
know
that
what
what I said?
talk-
Isn't
I
that
don't
what Friends was about?
Hold on.
We're talking about Golden Girls.
Maybe
No,
your
I'm talking about
maybe
Friends.
your transmission is
like
coming
Chandler Bing, and
Maybe transmission's coming in garbled. I thought you said
and Rachel.
Friends.
You know Rachel. Yeah. Anyways, I don't
What's
know.
the other
I think
Keep
in
going.
this day and age, it could. There's tons of channels it could be on. Like that sounds like an FX show, or HBO maybe, or again Adult Swim. But who knows? Who knows if anybody's
sweet.
who knows if anybody's going to care after the first season? Because most animated shows usually fail after the first season, especially adult animated shows. So who knows?
No.
Hey,
Yeah.
Jimmy, anybody win your book?
No, the contest ends next month. So you
Oh
can
my
still,
gosh, it's so exciting.
yeah.
What's the prize?
It's some Walking Dead CGC Charlie Adler thing. It's all on comicbookspeculation.com, and you can still enter to win.
It's
All you
a
have to do
great
is like
time for a giveaway.
retweet
like
something.
that.
What else do we have going on though? We have.
After
I think the last thing.
is your poster behind you up for a prize?
I think the last thing we had was
Wow,
you
didn't
guys
answer
wanted
my
to
question.
say something about Spider-Man: Homecoming.
The only thing I thought was last week I talked about the movie itself. The one thing I forgot to mention is I think the way that it ended up was it led into Dr. Octopus being a character in the next movie. I think it was him in this movie in the background running the computers. And I think it'll be him in the next movie, which he could always do another Mysterio. A lot of the talk before the movie came out was next movie could be Sinister Six. I could see that. The director wants Craven, which you talked about already, is possibly in the works for a film, or was supposed to be in the works for a film.
Wait, you're not running out and buying random Daredevil and She-Hulk books because you think that Peter Parker needs a lawyer?
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh my god! Talk
Yeah, I
about
saw
a
that stuff
miserable,
about,
logical leap.
I just don't understand how, it's not even known if that scene was reality or not, because the scene itself is Peter taking MJ throughout the city, she's holding onto his back and he's swinging through the skyline. Does that seem like that's reality? I mean, I guess it could be. And then he lands and he's like, all right, I gotta go. And then it comes up on a big giant billboard that Jonah Jameson is say, oh, Spider-Man's Peter Parker. And then it's and that was the end of it. And what just happened here? This just seemed like way too big of a leap in a movie that made too much sense to me. I thought it was done really well. It was very believable until it got to that point where it just seemed like it took, a left turn and didn't make sense. But the big thing, I guess, that came out, probably last Wednesday or something, was that if the movie did not make $1 billion in the box office, that Marvel would get the rights to it. Spider-Man Marvel would get the rights to
Marvel?
Spider-Man. But they would get the rights to Spider-Man, which it would be huge because Sony's kind of holding that tight to their chest. No, we're going to keep doing what we do over here. Thank you for the help. I don't think there's any chance it will happen. It's going to get close to it. And then I think what they would do if that became really a big issue is they would just re-release it with another end scene or something where they could milk another 100 million out of it with people going to see it again and to hit that checkpoint that they had. I just don't understand why Sony would agree to a contract that they already owned the rights to the character, and then they went into a contract with Marvel Studios, who said they would help with the movies to make them more palatable to a bigger audience and do better. But part of the stipulation Marvel put in there, like, if you don't do $1 billion, we get the rights back to it. And Sony's just like, well, yeah, we'll make $1 billion easy. Lots of movies do that. Like, how is that a stipulation that they would agree to? I don't believe it, but that apparently was confirmed. I don't know.
Yeah, it seems like a weird thing, but I guess it just depends on. I mean, would Sony really do that just to get Iron Man and Spider-Man into all of? I don't know. It doesn't make sense. So who knows?
Yeah, exactly. To get the extra money that they got from having
because
Marvel
it was Marvel who asked to use Spider-Man in the Avengers. Like Sony wouldn't have been like, "Hey, let's make a deal and put Spider-Man in the Avengers movie." That's not going to make any sense for us financially.
Right, exactly. Like, what's the trade-off? Okay.
Whereas it was Marvel asking Sony to figure it out. So I don't know. It's weird.
But the one article I did read was like basically Marvel really helped guide the Spider-Man movies. They had a lot of control as to the plot and kind of guiding it, because Sony I am assuming Sony realized they were not able to produce a movie on the level that Marvel did. So they brought in Marvel and said, hey, we can make some money together. We can make a lot of money together. Let's figure this out. It just seems like a very odd contract stipulation that I don't know why you would do it if you were Sony, because you have, say you don't reach that plateau. Okay, we'll only make $600 million per movie from here on out. You'll be all right.
I don't know.
So
it's weird.
Jimmy, final thoughts for the podcast. How many books have you submitted for the CGC photo grading on eBay?
None.
Wow. Wow, that seems low. Seems lower than I expected.
Absolutely do that. It'll be hilarious, and I'm trying to think of. I would just like to see the results.
I don't buy books on eBay, but I did see some person did it, and they posted it on the CBC boards. And the book said it was
CGC boards. What?
It was on the CBCS boards, and the book was described as being
CBC.
Whatever. The book was described as being like 9.0 or something.
It's 9.0-ish.
Oh no, I think the eBay auction said it was 8.0, and then CGC responded by just looking at the pictures, saying that it looked like it was between 7.0 and 9.0. So who knows? Like, who knows what that means? It just seems like a complete joke.
Exactly what the person said.
Yeah, I mean, it's not something I would use, but I mean, just I don't know.
The question is, weird. Who in the fuck would use it?
I don't know. I mean, probably new collectors that see the CGC name, and I think CGC is doing it to try to corner the market and get CBC out, so they can just maintain their name in the noob market. So who knows?
Wow,
but we'll see how it goes.
It makes sense.
I think that's all we had though for this week, right? Pretty sure.
Yeah, it wasn't the best week ever. It wasn't the worst week ever.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I think tomorrow, or at least this week, people should be trying to grab those Captain Marvel 8s.
Yeah, I'd buy.
I think we're at volume 7 now, or something ridiculous like that. But yeah, Captain Marvel 8, and then also X Liefeld's is a hilarious book, and then there's that other book is that Archie Jughead's time travel thing, and there's a Back to the Future cover that seems to be selling. Okay, so
check it out on comicbookspeculation.com.
Was there something we missed, Sleepy John?
The Captain Marvel does have a Carnage splatter variant.
Yeah, so I mean that's what, like 4 covers or 4 regular covers, including the 1 in 25.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yep, there we go. Okay, thanks guys. We'll see you next week, same time, same place. And then all these guys are also writing for comicbookspeculation.com, so there's some cool articles to check out there. So we'll see you later.
See ya.